enjoyed our last video, and I'm going to take some time today to go through another recipe with you. If you have any suggestions for me, feel free to comment, give us your feedback. We want to know what you have in your pantry and your fridge and your freezer, or maybe just something that you want to learn how to make. Be more than happy to try and put that together for you. So today I wanted to take this opportunity rather to focus on something that maybe you're missing out on right now. With a lot of restaurants closing, we might not be able to get into some of our favorites. So I thought I would focus on the next couple videos of things that are sort of those restaurant classics. So today we're gonna make some pizza dough. This is something you do not need to be intimidated by. It's actually relatively easy to do, and hopefully this video will help you with that. Now we are going to put a little bit of a twist on it because we've all had pizza and maybe you're wanting something a little bit different. So I'll take you through the pizza dough recipe. From there, you can do what you want. You can put together a classic pizza, or you can go the one step further like we're going to do today and go with panzerottis. So we're going to get into this now. All right, so I have all my ingredients set out here ready to go for us. So it's really just a simple matter of throwing it in. As you can see, there's really not a whole ton of ingredients. So it's more just the technique to make sure when we're working with yeast that we're treating it properly and so that it's gonna do its job properly. So to start off, we're just gonna take our bowl here. I've got a cup of warm water. Just take warm tap water. You want it to be warm to the touch. You don't want it too hot because yeast is considered to be an active culture, meaning that if the water is too warm, it's actually going to kill the yeast and it's not going to allow what you want it to do, which is to make our dough rise. So we're going to put our water in first. Then we're going to add our yeast. So we're going to do 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. And we're just going to sprinkle that into the bowl. Then we've got sugar. So we're going to do a tablespoon of sugar. This is basically what we're going to feed our yeast with because, again, being an active culture, it needs something to eat. So we're going to give it some sugar for that little energy boost to do what it needs to do. We're just gonna give it a moment there. I've also got some salt and some olive oil, so I think we'll start with the olive oil first. Again, with the salt, you don't want to add it too soon or else that will kill your yeast as well. It's very temperamental. So we're gonna do our olive oil first. So we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of olive oil. If you don't have olive oil in your house, feel free to use just a regular canola oil or vegetable oil. I just like the olive oil because pizza, it's Italian, olive oil, it's Italian, it's got a nice flavor to it. It's just gonna boost that flavor for us a little bit. All right, so we've got that, and then we're gonna do our teaspoon of salt. I'm just using a table salt right now. I find with baking, it's one of those things, most recipes call for table salt, so it's just better to go that route. If you only have sea salt, kosher salt, whatever it is, again, feel free to use that. All right, so I'm just gonna mix it up slightly there. And then we're gonna take our flour. Now the recipe itself calls for 2 to 3 cups of flour. We're gonna add 2 to start and we're gonna give it a quick little mix. And then if we need to add more from there, we can. Basically, again, you want to add a little bit at a time. Otherwise, you can end up with a really dry dough, and then that's going to throw your proportions off. So you might end up with a really tough dough as opposed to a nice fluffy dough. So we're going to do 2 cups to start. Again, they don't need to be measured off perfectly because there's a very good chance we're going to be adding a little bit more to it. So your hands, these are your best tools. So long as they're clean, feel free to mix the dough with your hands. If you have a KitchenAid mixer or another mixer of that kind, feel free to put everything in that and use the dough hook. That will have the same effect. I personally just find my hands and doing it this way are so much easier and quicker, so we're just gonna go for it. It's a chance to get a little dirty. So we're gonna mix it up. And if you sort of rub your fingers along the sides, that's just going to help to get everything off the sides as well as you're going through this. All right, so you can see we've got a bit of a dough here made up already. It's also very sticky still, so we are going to need some more flour. However, we're going to turn it onto the surface of our table, and we're going to knead at the same time. Basically, when we're kneading it, it helps to form the elastic bands of the gluten. This, again, is what helps to give that nice texture that we look for in any sort of yeast bread product. So let's take it out. Again, we're going to scrape off as much out of that bowl as possible. Whoops. We're going to take a little bit more flour and we're just going to sprinkle it along like this. If you've got a whole ton of dough stuck on your hands, just take some flour and sprinkle it on there. And you can just sort of rub it off like that. All right, so we've got our mess of a dough here. It's not gonna look like this for long. So what we're gonna do to knead it all together, basically you're gonna take your hand, you're gonna fold it over, and then you're gonna fold over this way. And as you're doing, you're gonna smush it down. And if you use the heel of your hand, that's really the best technique to get it moving through. And basically we're gonna keep doing this and adding more flour until it's not sticky anymore. Sorry, my table here is really noisy. I'm not sure if you can hear that. So we're gonna keep on going. It's feeling a little sticky again, so we're just gonna do a little bit less flour than we did the last time. You can do one-handed, you can use both. If you do larger portions of dough, this is a good arm workout for you since we're not getting to the gym these days. Just a little bit more here. Now, one of the things when I was in culinary school that our baking instructor told us, when we're making fresh bread, the way to tell that it's done is you want it to feel like a puppy's tummy. So this has stuck with me. If you've ever had a puppy, you know that their tummy is sort of soft and smooth, and it's also got a little bit of smushiness to it. If you haven't had a puppy or touched a puppy's belly, then this might not work as well. But again, you want it to feel smooth to the touch, and you want it to have a little bit of give and to bounce back as you press into it. So we're just gonna give it a couple more kneads here, get it a little bit smoother. I'm gonna clean up some of this excess flour on my counter. All right, so it should be in a nice little ball like this when you're done. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave this, we're gonna set it here for a few minutes. We're gonna let it rise. If you prefer a thin crust for your pizza, work with it right away. So once you finish this, you can start rolling it out and topping it as you would. But for our panzerottis, we're gonna let it rise a little bit. We'll clean up, we'll come back and we'll put them together. All right, so what we've done is we've divided out this dough into little pieces here. I've just divided it into 4. So we're gonna set those aside. I started to stretch out this other one already so that we could make our panzerotti. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can just use your hands to stretch it out. It should be stretchy enough. Otherwise, use a rolling pin. You can put a little bit of flour on your surface to roll it out. you're gonna dress it like you would a normal pizza, just leaving a little bit of space around the edges so that we have the spot to pinch it closed. All right, so we got our tomato sauce, a little bit of cheese. I've done up some ham and pepper because that's what I have available right now. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take it, we're gonna fold it over. And we're gonna pinch it closed. Okay, so as you pinch it, you just press it down and close it off together like that. You can get creative and do like little designs if you really want. Again, do what you're comfortable with. All right, so here we have our first panzerotti. Put it on a tray here, and you're going to leave enough space between them because they are going to rise a little bit more in the oven. So we're just going to set that one aside. I'm going to get more made, and then we'll put them in the oven. Okay, so these are done and they're ready to go, and now we're just going to take a little bit of olive oil and drizzle it over top. This is just going to help to brown it a little bit better. I put these on a tray with parchment paper underneath, and that's mainly just because it helps make things a little bit easier in terms of cleanup. You can also do them on a baking stone, like if you normally do something like that for your pizza at home. There's also the option you can throw some cornmeal down underneath as well, just to add a little bit more texture if you really want. All right, and as you'll see, some of these, the tomato sauce has popped out a little bit. Not that big of a deal. Again, as you work with this, you'll sort of figure out proportions as to what to put in there. But realistically, it's just gonna add more color and flavor, so who cares? So these are done, they're ready to go in the oven. We're gonna put them in the oven. You can do anywhere from 400 to 425, and you're gonna do it for about 20 minutes. You're gonna see that they're gonna puff up a little bit, and the crust should be nice and golden on the outside. So we'll put them in, and these will be ready in no time. Alright, so we have our panzerottis out of the oven here. You'll be able to see that they're nice and golden brown. Same with on the bottom. Be careful as you're handling them because it is like molten lava on the inside. I just cut this one open so that we can see. Oh, look at all that cheese there. These are going to be delicious. So again, as you go to make these, feel free to dress them up as you would normal pizza, whatever toppings you want. It's just a nice change from your traditional pizza. These are something really fun to make with your kids too. Put them to work, take advantage of this time together, make something fun, enjoy your meals together.